It's just that if anybody is supposed to come from the sky and appear and be coming, and there is no parachute holding him, no, funny thing holding him, and he comes that way, people will be bound to sort of end up thinking that then that is him. Because it is one sign that if truly God is the only one who is supposed to do that, he will not allow anybody else to do that. And that is a challenge that I see in the book. That is a very valid challenge, to sustain, to sort of support the faith and the coming of Christ. If anything about coming of Christ, this is the core thing that they need. This is the core book that is needed to be able to sort of reflect his coming. But if you use any other cycle of proof, and since you don't see him around, people use any other means to prove his existence, that he's already come, he's already alive. And by looking at these things, we can see clearly that no, it is not so. We can look at it and realize that it is not so. Because the truth of the matter is that the God that we pray to, the God that we commit ourselves to, the God that we adjust ourselves to, in every way must be able to sort of be proven in a more verifiable way. The evidence that we have to back whatever we say must be evidential, because there's so many abilities or existence of forces of spirit in forms and shapes, and those spirits in all these forms and shapes are doing as much as they can to sort of override whatever it is that we may have believed as being the truth. And they are doing so physically in so many means. So why should you allow that? You have to allow your God to be God. You have to allow the faith that you choose to be a part of to be what you sort of believe. You have to allow it to be exactly as you please. You have to let it reflect as you want it to reflect. Because without having that reflection, without showing that, who on earth are you going to convince? Whatever you say will be fallacy, will be complete nonsense, will be complete useless. If I was to go out there and declare myself in that manner of saying that these writings or whatever I have here is of a living God, I have to be able to have a valid proof that somehow backs and sustains the so-called idea that I have. It has to solidly reveal whatever I am saying to be true. If I have anything, if I slightly contradict or do the contrary, there are bound to be doubts, and there must be doubt, and it should be doubted. Because we are not imagining just some tiny bit of toy or anything. We are talking about God. If we mention God, let us be very real. If we mention God, we're saying something which is very, very unique, very important, very special, very powerful. We are mentioning something that is beyond the human ever, our thinking, our ability. We are calling on or talking about something powerful, something really great. If we say Allah, we are talking about someone really great, someone very huge and powerful, very, beyond us. And so the Allah groups and the Christian groups and the Buddhist group and whatever form of shape you call on God, you are assuming that is the greatest ever. That is the source of life that you are looking upon. And you mustn't look at it lightly and say that, oh no, this, I think by this means it's okay. There isn't any means that is okay, except what is proven, what has got works that backs it, something that can solidly guarantee whatever you believe. Or else, your faith is fake, it is imitating, it's a lie to yourself and to others. And if you are into such a useless, imaginative, creative, service, what good are you doing to yourself? Oh, because it brings me that. That's the only thing I know, and that is what I have, and that is the only thing that happens to sort of make me a better person. You don't need that. The beauty of life normally entices us into so many things, but whether these things are necessarily something that we should be a part of is what we ask ourselves. The beauty of life should be there for us anyway. There are so many people, you ask yourself, so many people who are not into the same faith that you have, but also are having the beauty of life. So it is not because of the beauty of life that enticed you to get into it that matters. Because whatever you have got, others have got. Others who are not like you have got it too. So what is so magnificent and strange about what you claim? If you claim God or you claim whatever faith you have, and whatever you have got, the challenge is not so strong to sort of override the views of the others that you so-called deny or you so-called look down upon, then you don't have any valid point to sort of base your argument or base your faith on. And that is not what we want. We want the solid one. We want something which is valid, something which is verifiable, something which has got the ingredients that sort of make it pleasing, palatable to our entire life, to our soul. I say someone will come up and then open up to using applications that are quite different, using a different style of approach. Let's say use music, and the others will use gatherings of, let's say, party celebrations of any kind of festive means. But all those things that are being used do not somehow solidly, they do not solidly back anything or prove anything, since it is all over and it can be done by all levels, or it can be embraced by all the levels. So it is no different from anything, and it is not so strange until you're able to prove that yours is actually the right thing. You have no right to sort of claim the ultimate God, knowing or having the knowledge of the ultimate God. And that is the basis of which I make my point. That is the basis of which I feel that when we declare these things and we make ourselves more clear in what our views are, we stand a greater chance, a real greater chance of doing, making our life easy for ourselves. We stand a greater chance of molding ourselves right. We stand a greater chance of drifting away from laws that entangle us in the bondage of evil that we claim to be seen as holy or God. And we know in ourselves that it is all pretense, that we don't really follow through with the so-called laws that we have given ourselves into, that we are not abiding by these things. So why do we bother ourselves anyway to champion it with others and say, hey, this is the right thing? What is the kidding about? We don't need to kid. We can simply make life easy for ourselves by putting it aside and say, hey, there is nothing we can do, we have nothing. And in fact, we have nothing. All that I use, or whatever it is that I may claim of right now, or I may discuss, is based on an open approach to things with no substance of anything. I use this, I'm dependent on the Quran and the Bible only to sort of solidify